Hey guys, welcome back to the video. This is FIFA World Cup Day 6, alright? This is one of the most interesting ones that I'm going to be discussing about. There's 4 matches, big countries, big games. But I do want to have a disclosure first if I'm going to pronounce the names wrong or any of the names wrong. And I'd say this one is going to be longer than my usual videos because these are big countries and I would like to get into it, like go deep in it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get right into it. The first match that we have is France versus Senegal. Alright, I'm going to be reading the data here, so mind me, but I'm going to give you guys all of the information that is needed. Alright, so France, a new version of a superpower. France enters this tournament in a very different position compared to previous World Cups. For years, Didier Deschamps relied heavily on loyalty. If a player had performed for France in the past, they often remain in the squad even when their club form declines. But according to the scouting reports, that philosophy has changed dramatically. Current form now matters more than reputation. Performance now matters more than legacy. The result is a French squad that may be younger, fresher, and more dynamic than any French team we've seen in years. This isn't a squad selected because of what players did in 2018. It's a squad selected because of what they can do it right now. And that should worry the rest of the tournament. The foundation of France, every great team needs a spine. France arguably possesses the strongest spine in international football. In goal, Mike Maignan has fully established himself as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's calm under pressure, excellent with his feet, and capable of producing match-saving moments. Ahead of him is a defensive line filled with elite talents. For like Jules Koundé, William Saliba, Dayot Upamecano, Theo Hernandez. What makes this group so dangerous isn't just individual quality, it's balance. Saliba brings composure. Upamecano brings physicality. Theo Hernandez adds attacking trust. Koundé provides versatility. Very few national teams can match that combination. The midfield engine. If France defense provides stability, the midfield provides control. Aurélien Tchouaméni remains one of the most complete defensive midfielders in football. His positioning allows France to attack without fear. His interceptions prevent dangerous counterattacks before they even begin. Alongside him sits Adrien Rabiot. For years, Rabiot was viewed as a talented but inconsistent player. Today, he's become one of France's most reliable performers. You know what I mean. His ability to carry the ball through midfield creates constant problems for opponents. Together, they form a partnership capable of dominating both possession and physical battles. Now, Kylian Mbappe's prime. Then we arrive at the player everyone is talking about, Kylian Mbappé. This World Cup represents the absolute peak of his career. He's no longer the teenage sensation from 2018. He's no longer the young superstar from 2022. This is a fully developed Mbappé, a player combining elite speed with elite decision making, a player who understands when to attack space and when to create for teammates. The scouting report repeatedly emphasizes that France's attack is now designed around maximizing Mbappe's strength. And that's terrifying because when Mbappe receives freedom, very few defenders in the world football can stop him. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a flu here. It's hard to pronounce the words right a little bit. Alright, then we have France attacking options. One of the most fascinating parts of the report is how many attacking combinations France can deploy. There isn't just one way to play, there are multiple. In one system, France can use a fluid front line featuring Mbappé, Ousmane Dembélé, Michael Olise, Desire Doué. This setup prioritizes movement, constant rotation, unpredictability. Defenders don't know who to mark. Passing lanes constantly change. Chaos is created, and chaos favors France. Another option introduced a more traditional striker, Marcus Thuram or Philippe Mateta, and suddenly France becomes more direct. More physical, more aerially dangerous, the flexibility is remarkable. And that's before we even discuss the bench. France's secret weapon, most teams fear French starting 11. But the report identifies something even more dangerous. The substitutes, Bradley Barcola, Ryan Cherki, Warren Zaire-Emery, Manu Kone, Ibrahime Konate, Lucas Digne. These are players who would start for many national teams. Imagine defending Mbappé for 70 minutes, then seeing Barcola enter. Imagine stopping Dembélé, then dealing with Cherki. Tournament football often becomes a battle of endurance. France possesses the deepest squad among the teams featured in these reports, and that depth could decide matches. Senegal, Africa fighters. Now let's move to Senegal. Because despite France's quality, dismissing the Senegal would be a huge mistake. This remains one of Africa's strongest football nations, a team that consistently competes with elite opponents, a team that thrives in physical battles, a team that never gives anything away easily. The backbone of Senegal remains experience. Kalidou Koulibaly continues to lead the defense. Edouard Mendy remains a reliable presence in goal. Idrissa Gana Gueye provides leadership and intelligence in midfield. These players have seen everything: World Cups, African Cups, Champions League nights. Pressure doesn't scare them. The new generation. However, Senegal is also evolving. The reports place major emphasizes on two midfielders, Lamine Camara and Habib Diarra. Camara acts as the deep playmaker. His passing range helps Senegal progress the ball. His set piece delivers create dangerous situations. His vision allows the team to transition quickly. Diarra offers something different: energy, intensity, vertical running. He covers huge areas of the pitch and helps Senegal remain a competitive physically. Together, they represent the future of Senegal football. Sadio Mane's role. Then comes Sadio Mane, one of Africa's greatest players. But the reports make an interesting observation. Mane's game has evolved. Earlier in his career, he relied heavily on explosive pace. Now he contributes more through experience, intelligence, and creativity. Rather than simply attacking space, he often drifts deeper to influence build-up play. His leadership remains invaluable, and against a team like France, that experience could prove crucial. And one of Senegal's biggest tactical questions concerns balance. The reports repeatedly mention the challenge of fitting multiple attackers into the same lineup. We have Ismaïla Sarr, Iliman Ndiaye, Nicolas Jackson, Sadio Mane. All four can create danger. But playing too many attacking players may expose the midfield. Against weaker opponents, That's manageable. That's manageable for them. Against France, it becomes risky. Pushing too many players forward could leave dangerous gaps for Mbappé and company to exploit. Nicolas Jackson, the report also discusses Nicolas Jackson, despite recent disciplinary issues in a friendly, he's available for this match. Jackson's offer something unique. He trashes defenses, makes aggressive runs behind the backline, and constantly forces defenders into difficult decisions. France will need to monitor him carefully. One mistake is all it takes. Now, ultimately, this match comes down to one central question. Can Senegal disrupt France's rhythm? Because if France settles into their preferred tempo, the game could quickly become one-sided. Senegal must win physical duels, stay compact, avoid unnecessary mistakes, and capitalize on transitions. France wants to control. Senegal wants to disrupt. France wants possessions. Senegal wants movements. However, whoever imposes their style will likely win. Now, the final verdict. The scouting report gives France a rating of 96 out of 100. Senegal receives a 79. The biggest difference isn't talent, it's depth. Senegal can absolutely compete for 60 minutes, maybe even 70, but over 90 minutes, France simply has more solutions, more creativity, more quality, and more players capable of changing a game. That doesn't mean Senegal won't fight. They absolutely will. But France enters this match as deserved favorites. So, my prediction will be to France side, obviously. I'd say they'd win 2-0 against Senegal. The goals might be from Kylian Mbappé, Ousmane Dembélé, and the man of the match most likely would be Kylian Mbappé. France starts their World Cup campaign with 3 points, but Senegal shows enough quality to remind everyone why they are still one of Africa's most dangerous teams. So let's get right into the second match. Alright, so the second match will be Norway versus Iraq. For most football fans, Norway has always been known as a country with talent. The problem was turning that talent into results. For years, they produced quality players. For years, they came close. And for years, they watched the World Cup from home. But that finally changed. Norway enters the 2026 World Cup carrying the expectations of an entire nation. This is their first World Cup appearance since 1998. And unlike previous generations, this squad isn't built around hope. It's built around proven elite players, the best striker in the world, one of the best playmakers in Europe, and supporting cast stronger than anything Norway has fielded in decades. For Norwegian football, this isn't just another tournament, this is a statement. Now, let's start with the obvious name that everybody knows, Erling Haaland. Every defense entering this tournament knows exactly who he is. The problem is stopping him. Haaland isn't just a goal scorer. He's a force of nature. His combination of strength, speed, movement, and finishing makes him arguably the most dangerous striker in international football. What separates him from many elite forwards is efficiency. He doesn't need 10 chances. Sometimes he only needs 1, and that's terrifying for opponents. The reports repeatedly emphasize that Norway's system is designed to maximize Haaland's strength. Everything revolves around him, into scoring positions, crosses, through balls, through transitions, set pieces. The objective is simple: find Haaland, then let him finish. While Haaland gets the headlines, Martin Ødegaard is arguably the most important player in the team. Without Ødegaard, Norway loses structure. Without Ødegaard, Norway loses creativity. Without Ødegaard, Norway becomes predictable. His role to provide assists, isn't simply to provide assists. His job is to control the rhythm of the match. He decides when Norway accelerates, when they slow down, when they attack, and when they recycle possession. He's the brain behind the operation. And his partnership with Haaland could become one of the defying stories of this World Cup. One mistake many people make is assuming Norway is simply Haaland and Ødegaard. That's outdated thinking. This squad contains far more attacking depth than previous generations. Alexander Sørloth offers a completely different profile from Haaland. Physical, aggressive, dangerous in the air. Antonio Nusa provides explosive, dribbling, and unpredictability. Oscar Bob brings creativity between the lines. And when defenses focus entirely on Haaland, these players suddenly become extremely dangerous. This is what makes Norway different. You can't simply stop one player. You have to stop the entire system. The midfield engine. The reports constantly highlight Norway's midfield as one of the most underrated units in this tournament. Players like Sander Berge provide physical presence. Patrick Berg adds intelligence and positioning. Together they create a platform that allows Ødegaard to focus on creation. Without them, Norway's become vulnerable. With them, Norway becomes balanced, and balance wins tournaments. And now, let's talk about Iraq. Because unlike Norway, Iraq enters this tournament with almost no external expectations, and that can become dangerous, basically like an underdog. Their journey to this World Cup wasn't glamorous, it wasn't easy, and it certainly wasn't straightforward. They fought through qualification rounds, playoffs, pressure, and adversity. Every step required resilience. Every match required belief. This team that understands hardship, and that mentality cannot be underestimated. One of the most interesting aspects of Iraq preparation has been the influence of Graham Arnott. The Australian coach has worked hard to establish defensive discipline and tactical organization. The objective isn't beautiful football. The objective is efficiency. Iraq understands that they cannot outplay teams like Norway in open football. Instead, they seek to make matches uncomfortable, physical, compact, frustrating, and difficult to break down. And it's not glamorous, but it can be effective. So I think you might see some red cards in this game. And the reports repeatedly emphasize one thing. Iraq's strongest weapon is organization. This team defends as a unit. The midfield works, the defenders communicate, everyone knows their role. Against stronger teams, Iraq is comfortable sitting deep and protecting central areas. They don't care about possessions, statics. They don't care about flashy football. They care about survival. And survival often keeps underdogs in games longer than expected. The key players for Iraq, much of attention falls on Aymen Hussein. The striker remains their biggest attacking threat. His physical presence gives Iraq an outlet when under pressure. When the team needs relief, they look for him. When they need goals, they look for him. When they need leadership, they look for him. Supporting him are players like Ali Jessim, who offers creativity and direct running, and Amir Al-Amari, who provides stability in midfield. These players may not have the global recognition of Norway stars, but they are capable of creating moments, and moments change matches. Now, the biggest issue for Iraq is simple. They may spend huge proportion of this game defending. Against weaker team, that's manageable. Against Norway, it becomes exhausting because Norway doesn't attack with one player. They attack in waves. First comes Haaland, then Ødegaard, then Nusa, then Sørloth. Then overlapping fullbacks. The pressure never stops, and maintaining concentration for 90 minutes becomes extremely difficult. This match is essentially a battle between control and resistance. Norway wants control. Control of possession, control of territory, control of tempo. Iraq wants resistance. Resist the pressure, resist the movement, resist the talent gap. If Iraq can keep up the game scoreless for an hour, nerves could appear, frustration could grow, and suddenly the pressure shifts to Norway. But if Norway scores early, everything changes. Iraq will be forced to open up, and that creates space. Space for Haaland, space for Ødegaard, space for Norway's attack. That's exactly what Norway wants. Now, the report suggests Norway enters this tournament with one of the strongest attacking units outside the elite favorites. Attack advantage Norway. The midfield advantage Norway. Squad depth Norway. World-class talent Norway. Where Iraq can compete is mentally, discipline, organization, and collective effort. But over 90 minutes, talent usually wins, and Norway has significantly more of it. But it doesn't always mean 100%. Just like the match today between Spain, that was unpredictable. And the final verdict. This doesn't feel like a match Norway should lose. The quality gap is substantial. The attacking options are superior. The midfield is superior. The depth is superior. Iraq will make life difficult. They'll defend it, they'll fight, and they'll likely create a few dangerous moments. But sustaining that resistance for an entire match is monumental challenge, especially against a team featuring one of the best strikers on the planet. So, my prediction for Norway against Iraq, I would have to lean against Norway. So I'd say Norway wins 3-0 against Iraq. The goals might be held for Erling Haaland, Alexander Sørloth, Antonio Nusa, and the man of the match, I think that would be Martin Ødegaard. Low-key, you understand? It might be him because he creates all those moments. Norway begins their World Cup journey exactly as fans hope, without a convincing victory and a reminder that they may be one of the tournament's most dangerous dark horses. And let's get into the third match. Alright, for the third match, we have Argentina versus Algeria. Every World Cup team has a team everyone watches. This year, that team is Argentina. Not just because they're defending champions, not just because they're one of the tournament's favorites, because this may be the final World Cup appearance of Lionel Messi. For millions of football fans around the world, this tournament feels like the final chapter of one of the greatest careers in sport history. The question isn't whether Argentina is talented. The question is whether they can do something almost nobody has managed in modern football: defend a World Cup title. And their journey begins against one of Africa's most dangerous teams, Algeria. The Scaloni era. One of the biggest reasons for Argentina's success isn't a player, it's continuity. Since taking charge, Lionel Scaloni has built one of the most stable environments in international football. There is no drama, no tactical confusion, no constant changes. Every player understands their role, every player understands the system, every player understands the objective. And that level of continuity is extremely valuable in tournament football. While other nations are still figuring things out, Argentina already knows exactly who they are. Messi's final act. So let's talk about Messi, Lionel Messi. At 38 years old, Messi is no longer expected to carry Argentina physically. And that's not his role anymore. The report emphasizes something very important. Argentina has evolved to protect Messi. The midfield does more running, the forward do more pressing, the defender takes greater responsibility. All of that allows Messi to focus on what he still does better than almost everyone else, creating magic. He doesn't need to touch the ball 100 times, he only needs one moment. One pass, one free kick, one opening, and suddenly the match changes. That's why even at this stage of his career, Messi remains Argentina's most dangerous weapon. The midfield that makes everything work. If Messi is the artist, the midfield is the engine. The report repeatedly highlights three names: Rodrigo de Paul, Alexis Max Allister, Enzo Fernandez. Together, they form one of the most complete midfield units in international football. De Paul provides energy and aggression, Mac Allister provides intelligence and balance, Enzo provides creativity and progression. What makes them special isn't individually, it's brilliance. It's how well they complete each other. Each player covers the weaknesses of other players. Each player enhances the strength of the other players. And that gives Argentina extraordinary control over matches. One thing that many people overlook is how much attacking depth Argentina possesses beyond Messi. Julian Alvarez, Lautaro Martinez, Alejandro Garnacho, Nicolas Gonzalez. These players provides pace, movement, and finishing. The report emphasizes that Argentina is no longer dependent on Messi scoring goals. Now Messi creates, others finish, and that's arguably more dangerous than before, because opponents can no longer focus on stopping one player. They must stop an entire attack. Championships teams need stability. Argentina has it. Cristian Romero remains one of the most aggressive defenders in world of football. Lisandro Martinez provides composure and distribution. And behind them stands Emiliano Martinez, the goalkeeper who seems to save his best performance for international tournaments. The report highlights Argentina's defense structure as one of the strongest in the competition. Not because they never make mistakes, but because they rarely panic, they rarely make a scene. And in tournament football, composure wins matches. Now let's switch focus, because Algeria might be one of the most underrated teams in this entire tournament. Many casual fans see Algeria and immediately assume Argentina should win comfortably. The reports disagree. Under Vladimir Petkovic, Algeria has undergone a tactical transformation. The team is more organized, more disciplined, and more balanced than previous versions. The objective is no longer chaotic attacking football. The objective is controlled aggression. Stay compact, remain dangerous, strike quickly. And just like Argentina has Messi, Algeria has Mahrez. I know that name doesn't really sound too popular, but if you really like football, you may know him. And just like Messi, Mahrez has entered this tournament in the later stages of his international career. The difference is that Algeria asked Mahrez to do more. He's still the creative leader, the captain, the emotional center of the team. The reports emphasize that Mahrez remains Algeria's most important player. When he's involved, Algeria becomes unpredictable. When he's quiet, Algeria becomes easier to contain. And that makes his battle against Argentina defense absolutely crucial. One thing that stands out in the reports is Algeria attacking depth. Amin Gouiri, Mohamed Amoura, Ibrahim Maza. These aren't household names globally, but they're extremely dangerous footballers. Gouiri brings technical quality. Amoura brings pace. Maza brings creativity. Together, they give Algeria something many underdogs lack: multiple ways to score goals. And against Argentina, they'll need every one of those weapons. Why Algeria is serious, the reports repeatedly emphasizes one phrase: transition football. Algeria thrives when opponents lose possession. They thrive when games become chaotic. They thrive when space appears. And that's exactly why they're dangerous against Argentina. Because even dominant teams make mistakes. Even champions lose the ball. And when that happens, Algeria can punish them very quickly. The tactical chess match. This is what makes the matchup fascinating. Fascinating. I am so sorry. I'm losing these words from talking too much. Argentina wants control. Algeria wants opportunities. Argentina wants patience. Algeria wants speed. Argentina wants structure. Algeria wants moments of chaos. Who wins? Usually the team that controls the tempo. And that's where Argentina has a significant advantage, because few teams control games better than the defending champions. Now, another major factor highlighted by the reports in this tournament experience is Argentina squad is filled with players who have won Copa Americas, won a World Cup, played Champions League finals, handled immense pressure. Algeria has quality, but they don't possess the same level of experience on football's biggest stage. And let me tell you that matters, especially in close matches. Comparing the scores, according to the analysts, Argentina is a 93 out of 100, Algeria is a 81 out of 100. An important detail, this is not a massive gap. It's significant, but not overwhelming, which means Algeria absolutely has a chance. This isn't David versus Goliath. It's more like a strong contender facing a dangerous outsider, and danger outsiders can create surprise. So, the reports view Argentina as deserved favorites, not because Algeria lacks quality, but because Argentina simply has more answers, more experience, more control, more depth, and more players capable of deciding matches. Algeria will create problems though. They may even score. But over 90 minutes, Argentina quality should prevail. So my prediction, I still have to go with Argentina. Argentina wins 2-1 against Algeria. The goals might be highly likely from Lionel Messi, Julian Alvarez, Mohamed Amoura. That's another possibility too. And the man of the match, I still gotta go with my man Messi, Lionel Messi. Argentina begins its title defense with a victory, but Algeria leaves the match reminding everyone why they're one of the most dangerous underdogs in this tournament. So, let's get into the very next match. Alright, for the last match, we got Austria versus Jordan. When people discuss dark horses for the 2026 World Cup, the conversation usually revolves around teams like Uruguay, Belgium, or Senegal. Very few mention Austria. Because while bigger football nations attract attention, Austria has quietly become one of Europe's most organized teams under Ralf Rangnick. This isn't a team built around superstar names. It's a team built around structure, pressing, discipline, and tactical understanding. The reports repeatedly describe Austria as one of the most synchronic teams in the tournament. Every player understands their role. Every movement has a purpose. Every press has a trigger. This is football engineered for efficiency. The biggest reason behind Austria's rise is Ralf Rangnick. His influence can be seen everywhere. Austria doesn't simply defend, they hunt. The moment possession is lost, the nearest player immediately attacks the ball. The objective is simple: win it back before the opponent can breathe. This aggression-pressing philosophy has transformed Austria from a solid European side into a genuine tournament threat. The reports repeatedly emphasize Austria's ability to suffocate opponents through collective pressure, And against Jordan, that's exactly what they'll attempt to do. The Austria's midfield may not receive global headlines, but it forms the heart of the team. Players such as Nicolas Sørloth, Xaver Schlagsleger, Marcel Sabitzer, together they create one of the most balanced midfield units in the competition. Schlagsleger provides intensity, Sørloth provides intelligence, Sabitzer provides creativity. The combination allows Austria to dominate territory without sacrificing defensive stability. Sorry, there's something on my phone. And in the tournament football, balance often matters more than brilliance. Then there's David Alaba. Even after years at the highest level, he remains Austria's leader. But his value goes far beyond experience. The reports describe Alaba as the organizer of Austria's defensive structure. He's constantly communicating, adjusting positioning, managing transitions, and helping younger teammates remain composed. Against Jordan's counterattacks, his leadership could prove decisive. Austria's attack is built around movement rather than individual genius. Marko Arnautovic remains the focal point. Even at this stage of his career, he continues to offer physical presence and finishing ability. Around him, players like Romano Schmidt and Sabitzer create opportunities through intelligent movement. Austria may not possess Mbappé or Haaland, but they create chances through collective understanding, and that makes them difficult to stop. Now let's talk about Jordan, because simply reaching this stage is an achievement. Jordan enters the World Cup carrying momentum from their historic Asian Cup run. For years, they were viewed as outsiders within Asian football. Now they're competing on the biggest stage in the sport. That confidence matters, because while Austria enters with expectation, Jordan enters with freedom. And sometimes freedoms create surprises. Coach Jamal Salami deserves enormous credit. The reports repeatedly highlight Jordan's organization. This team is not a team that relies on chaos. This is a team that understands exactly who they are. Jordan knows they won't dominate possession against stronger opponents. They know they won't overwhelm teams with individual talent. Instead, they focus on defensive discipline, compact shape, collective effort, and tactical patience. Unfortunately, Jordan enters this tournament carrying a major concern. Yazan Al-Naimat, one of the team's most important attacking players, is injured. His injuries remove a significant resource of goal and creativity. The reports repeatedly return to this issue because it changes the entire structure of Jordan's attack. Without him, much of responsibility falls on one player, Moussa Al-Tamari. If Jordan is going to cause an upset, Al-Tamari will almost certainly be involved. He's explosive, direct, fearless, and capable of creating opportunities from nothing. The problem, Austria knows this. The report suggests Austria will likely focus heavily on limiting his influence. Double teams, immediate pressure, cutting passing lanes, anything to prevent him from running at defenders in open space. If Al-Tamri is isolated successfully, Jordan's attacking threat drops dramatically. This match presents a classic contrast. Austria wants pressure, Jordan wants patience. Austria wants chaos in the opponent's half, Jordan wants control in their own half. Austria wants quick recoveries, Jordan wants survival. The first goal could decide everything. If Austria scores early, Jordan will be forced to open up. If Jordan survives into the second half, belief will grow. And that's when World Cup surprises becomes possible. According to the reports, Austria is an 86 out of 100, Jordan is a 68 out of 100. The biggest gap appears in tactical cohesion. Austria's players have spent years developing under Rangnick's philosophy. Jordan's strength lies in resilience and organization, but the overall quality gap remains significant. So, Jordan deserves enormous respect. Their journey to this tournament has been inspirational. Their organization is impressive, their mentality is admirable, but Austria simply possesses too many advantages: better depth, better structure, more experience, and a system specifically designed to punish defensive mistakes. Over 90 minutes, that should make the difference. So my prediction would be Austria 2-0 against Jordan. Austria wins. The goals might be from Marco Arnautovic, Marcel Sabitzer, and the man of the match might be Marcel Sabitzer. Austria begins their campaign with a professional and disciplined victory. So my final predictions are France 2-0 against Senegal, Norway 3-0 against Iraq, Argentina 2-1 against Algeria, Austria 2-0 against Jordan. So, the biggest threat to France are Norway. The combination of Haaland and Ødegaard gives them a chance against anyone. Team most likely to surprise. Then we have Senegal, physical, experienced, and capable of making knockout football difficult for elite teams. And the most dangerous underdog might be Algeria and Argentina versus Austria. The dark horse of these 8 teams are Norway, Algeria. Yeah, that's the 2 of them. And that's a wrap for our full preview of Matchday 1 group for I and J. Okay guys, that's all for today. That is a pretty long video, but if you guys enjoy it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because we'll be doing one again tomorrow. This is pretty tiring, but we're on this together.